Okay, Holy Grail Wisdom Quotes by me, Pete Rogers. We're going in alphabetical order. First author here is H.G. Wells. He lived from 1866 to 1946. He said, good books are the warehouses of ideas. Yeah, smart people read a lot because that's where the information is. Moral indignation is jealousy with a halo. What really matters is what you do with what you have. We need to constantly be challenging ourselves in order to strengthen our character and to increase our intelligence. Organisms only gain strength out of necessity. Okay, so what he's talking about here is this idea of Darwinism. Herbert Spencer, survival of the fittest. Okay, and there was an idea of eugenics in the late 1800s, early 1900s that, the English thought that they were the most superior people on the whole planet and they thus had the right to colonize and subjugate everybody else. And H.G. Wells kind of went along with that mentality. And he also wrote an interesting book where he talked about different populations of people, the Eloi and the Morlocks. The Eloi were people who he thought had become weak, and he felt man that's not challenged becomes weak. And then the Morlocks were like the criminal lower classes that would come and kidnap them and brutalize them. Okay, so that's also somebody who's really weak and wimpy. They sometimes say that person's an Eloi. Okay. He says, why are the Elois so weak? Because they've never been forced to exert themselves. The Morlocks were thought degenerated from the working class. The Eli, though degenerated, was the owner class. Okay. H.G. Wells wrote a book called The Time Machine. He said, we all have our time machines. Those that take us back our memories. Those that take us forward our dreams. Let your love be stronger than your hate or anger. Learn the wisdom of compromise, for it is better to bend than to break. When a man realizes his littleness, his greatness can appear. Human history becomes more and more a race between education and catastrophe. Okay, the other thing was they felt, like this comes from Charles Darwin and his supporters, that they felt that the lower classes and the stupid people were having babies much faster than the smart people, and they felt that the world would eventually just become drowning in stupid people, and the smart people would all be brutalized and put into submission. That was sort of the mentality of the late 1800s. Okay, Victor Weisskopf is a teacher, and here's just one quote he had. He says, you can only teach by creating interest, by creating an urge to know. The knowledge has to be sucked into the brain. You cannot push knowledge into the brain. You first have to create a mindset that craves knowledge. And I think that's true. He's a physics professor at MIT. The student has to want to learn, and they have to want to really learn, not just get a grade on a test. If they want to just get a grade on a test, then they're going to try to memorize it until they take the test. But is if they really want to learn long term, that the knowledge will stay with them. Okay, we got time for one more person with this session. We're going to do Eudora Welty. Okay, she was a writer, just a few American writers, a few little quotes on her. To write honestly and with all our powers is the least we can do and the most we can do. A sheltered life can be a daring life as well, for all serious daring starts from within. Learning to write may be part of learning to read. For all I know, writing comes out of a superior devotion to reading. I read library books as fast as I could go. I read library books as fast as I could go, rushing them home in the basket of my bicycle. From the minute I reached our house, I started to read. All good writers speak in an honest voice and they tell the truth. I was always my own teacher. So one of the great things about reading books is anybody could do it, and it can give you a logarithmic advantage on other people in terms of the development of your brain, of your ability to speak, of your ability to write. Because in my experience, most people really can't write or speak very well. They can talk comfortably about things that are familiar to them. They stay within their social vocabulary. But if you get them to go out of that, they're not comfortable at all. Versus somebody who reads a lot, they've just got this massive vocabulary and a massive knowledge data set. This modern idea that you can just look things up whenever you need them on the internet is not, it's nice to look stuff up, but you need to have awareness in your mind that the thing exists. Because if you're not aware that something exists, it's very difficult to look it up. So I think a lot of people have a false sense of knowledge by just thinking they can look everything up, and most people are kind of like ignoramuses. I mean, if you want to be an educated person, you have to know the ancient Greeks, you have to know the Romans, you have to know a little bit about the Middle Ages, you definitely should know the Italian Renaissance at a minimum, and you really ought to know the 1800s Renaissance. That's the even bigger one. And of course, you got to know the events of the 1900s. I mean, that's just basic amount of knowledge to have. Anyways, I hope you found these quotes helpful.